So we're here today at the home of Mr. and Mrs. Jackson at 4392 Longwood Drive in Gardendale, Alabama. Their area code is 35071 and their State Farm claim number is 0181 243 0181 Z as in zebra 433F as in Florida. So today we're going to be doing a repair attempt on the north facing facet of the house to this wind damaged shingle right here that's along this north facing slope. I believe, what was it, I want to say it was somewhere around like 10 or something shingles was allotted to this house, maybe a little less. But today we're going to do a repairability attempt on just one of these damaged shingles to see if repairs are possible. And we would just like to ask that you guys would watch this video for us. So you go ahead and get started.
We're going to start this off by separating these seals. I am going to note that I'm going to be using a standard flat bar for the sake of this video, just for the case that the roof snake, when you go to hammer in these new fasteners, it causes hail-like impacts on the shingles below, and the roof snake is not made for double laminated shingles, the architectural shingles. They're just mainly made for the 3-tabs. So let's get started by separating these seals. This is the one that we're going to be replacing. So this one is obviously already unsealed. So let's get the rest of these unsealed. Being very careful while doing this, just because we don't want to damage any of these shingles above, because these are staying. Trying to go at an angle, there we go. Continue with the unsealing. There's a ton of mat transfer under here. It'll be really hard to see in the video.
Yeah, if you want to hold that. Sure.
You can see possibly right under there, mat transfer. We will continue anyways. There's a rip right there. You can see that.
Yeah, if you guys want to look at that. Obviously you can tell there's not excessive force being used. And that right there is just a tear already, just due to the condition that these shingles are in. They're very brittle and very soft to the touch.
But we will continue in getting these fasteners out.
We'll also just note here that he's also being very careful as not to lift these shingles too high and avoiding any unintentional damage.
Yep, trying my best to be as careful as possible. Gotta get under here to see these fasteners. And I do want to note that these are all rusty underneath there. I'll pull one out and show you the nail head.
Yeah, we'll also that is also due to leaks actually occurring through the shingle because they're no longer shedding water due to the damage that's been caused to them.
You can see the top of that one. It's just,
you can see that that's plated in rust. If it'll focus here, there it goes. We'll show that it's just covered in rust. So that's just kind of the condition these shingles are in when you're trying to repair them. That they're not shedding water the way they're supposed to.
get these fasteners out up here.
Yeah.
That is a rip right there.
Yeah, if you want to show that. Just by sliding the flat bar up under there and trying to relieve that fastener.
Yeah, right here. It's ripped. Didn't put any excessive force on that. It's just the condition that these things are in.
And we'd also, I'd like to know that that's also a point of failure for doing a repair attempt, and some people would ask as to why. That is a major fail to a repair attempt for a couple of reasons. The main one being that you can no longer put a fastener within 2 inches of the compromised area, which means that these fasteners can no longer be placed and properly spaced out the way they're supposed to on a shingle.
Rusty nail head.
And when the fasteners are not properly spaced out, it's also got a little bit of mat transfer on there, a little tar on top. But when they can't be properly spaced out, they can't weather the storm like they're supposed to. So when doing a repair, if every shingle I repair does that, you know, now they're gonna have more blow off. So
We're getting close here. Trying to be as careful as possible so I don't slide on down this slope. It is pretty steep.
also another point of failure that you can kind of notice when we're trying to repair these shingles and lifting them up, it's actually causing delamination. And you can kind of see, if you want to raise that up a little bit just to show it, the delamination is the separation of the laminate on these shingles, which means these 2 layers are no longer going to be holding together, and you can actually see where that bubble is coming up, and I'm pushing it down. And what that does is that actually causes damage to the shingle, and now the shingle is more likely to have this bottom mat layer just slide out from under it, and that will lead to leaks in the internal home, which obviously wouldn't restore the roof to pre-loss conditions.
One more nail here.
So, wow, look at that. The first thing I'd note is if you look at this, look at that. It's all broken on the back side of this shingle. The creasing has actually cracked through the entire back side, along with, let's see. So, and there's another prime example. There's that delamination we talked about. You can see where this upper layer right here is the main part where the fastener goes through. So if I'm causing delamination in this bottom part sliding out right here, then it's no longer in pre-loss condition. So today we're going back with the Owens Corning Oak Ridge shingle. This is your standard architectural shingle that we use these days.
And first off, want to note this shingle is overhanging the original shingles by
We got a good
2 inches.
Good 2 inch, 1.5 inch overlap of the shingles. I don't see, looks like this is an old Tamco Tuscaloosa shingle that the Jacksons had on their house prior. I do not believe that you'll be able to find those. And now that we're looking at it, look at the exposure. There's also a pretty severe gap in the size of the exposures now. And you can kind of see that there. My finger, on the tip of my finger is where her exposure line's at now. Runs right there, and you can kind of see the difference, the 1/2 inch difference that we have there in just size of exposure. But for the sake of this video, it's going to be okay, and we're just going to keep going.
Nope. Get some new fasteners to put in here. yeah, it is definitely hanging over me by a lot. And I'm only lifting enough to get a good clean nail strike. Just enough. Not doing any extra lifting. You can see all these granules just flowing off.
Yeah, you can see it on the video too. I'd like to point out that it's also a point of failure. There's a couple reasons to that, but the main one's just going to be the granules is actually what allows a shingle to shed water off the insured's house. And so if a repair attempt causes extreme loss of granules, it'll no longer be able to shed water properly the way it's supposed to. And obviously there's another point of failure just because now it's no longer going to pre-loss conditions.
Mm-hmm. Not doing any excessive lifting here, just what's necessary in order to get these fasteners in. I can't go in this nail hole over here because of the nail pull through before. It's not going to go in right. Lift this thing up enough to get this nail head in.
Just point that out right there. I mean, look at that massive tear just from lifting it up to get a in the formation of a crease right up at the top, but that massive tear through, that's a huge point of failure. So we're gonna put this last fastener in, but just so this repair is gonna hold to their roof and we're not leaving a vacant spot where a shingle's just gonna come off. But yeah, just due to the severe granular loss and one of the main ways, I mean, just go ahead and give it a hand swipe before you mark anything. It's a very light swipe just to kind of show the loss of granules. You go ahead and give it a little swipe on the new one too.
See this one? Nothing.
And I'll show you this.
You can pull it
The way you can really know that it's severe granule loss just from hammering. I mean, look at the accumulation of granules actually onto the pitch hopper we've used to stay up here. But just after reviewing this, I mean, just obviously there's a major failure right there. That is a massive point of failure. That big root tear, that crease that's formed right here. There's another tear right there in the shingle. So,
yep, I think we're going to have to call this a failed repair attempt. Just because of that tear, the nails pulling through, creasing right here. It's going to be a fail. If you'd please take all of this into consideration and adjust your scope accordingly, we'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you.